everybody. Welcome to this month's webinar. We are Jamis Software Corporation, and I'm Dan Russert, Vice President of Business Development and Marketing for Jamis, and I'm joined by Mike Myers, our Jamis Prime Product Manager. We're kicking off the year with a brand new topic. We're calling this 2020 Vision, 20 difference-making features in modern ERP systems. Today's presentation will be about 45 minutes long, and for the first 10 difference-making features, we'll be covering that in slides, and for the second 10 features, we'll be going over these features in our ERP system, Jamis Prime. There's exciting technology trends continuing to emerge every year at an accelerating pace, completely transforming the way we work, learn, and develop. Business leaders who stay up to speed on IT trends can gain real competitive advantages, greater efficiencies, enhanced customer service, increased profitability, and even the ability to completely disrupt a given market. At Jamis, we keep an eye on trends and adjust accordingly to best serve our customers and the market in general. So today, we'll talk about some of the major things going on in business tech, specifically ERP in the GovCon market. And we were able to come up with 20 features that can truly make a difference in the way you work. 20 does seem like a high number, but in actuality, when we sat down, the ideas kept coming, and the benefits of systems today became very apparent, and getting to 20 didn't seem that tough anymore. So what do you need to be aware of going into 2020? What are technology providers and software vendors doing that can help drive your business forward? The first feature is what we like to call future-proof. Is your system built to last for the next decade plus? Every 10 to 15 years, a major disruption occurs in technology. Does the system you intend to implement have what it takes to complete a true digital transformation? The kind of transformation that will allow you to play on a level playing field with your competition for the next decade. A true cloud ERP system. A true cloud ERP system breaks down the barriers of communication. It gives more people access to more data. It helps drive collaboration and knowledge sharing, and it helps push organizations and people to new levels of success. Many systems appear to have a modern look and feel, but beneath the surface lays an older foundation, leaving you susceptible to performance issues, compatibility with other key applications, or even security issues. The next feature is user experience, or UX. This is a popular thing in the market right now. Companies are investing lots of money in user experience. And essentially it has to do with how easy is the system to use? How user-friendly is the interface? Does the system make your life easier? Does it reduce clicks? Does it streamline processes? And is it intuitive? Things like that can make a major difference in your day-to-day life. Number 3 is personalization. Is the system role-based, based on each user that accesses the system or each department? Does it reduce the amount of information a user needs to sort through? If the system's easier to use, you're going to have better user adoption. And one of the most difficult things with implementing an ERP system is the change management portion of that. If the system's easier to use, you have a higher chance of success. And then the last thing in here under personalization would be customizability. Most systems in 2020 give you the ability to do a lot of customization without the help of a development team. Whether it's adding a field or changing the way a screen looks or an approval workflow. All of those things should be fairly easy to do in a modern ERP system, and anytime you upgrade to a new version, those customizations should carry forward with you without any major assistance. The next feature is reputation. What do customers, partners, and the general market say about the ERP system and the vendor? If you were to do a Google search, what would show up in Google search. Now this isn't a feature per se, but in 2020 there's a lot of ways to find out about a reputation of a company, and the modern web and Google and sources like G2 Crowd, which are peer-reviewed sites that give you an idea of what customers and partners are saying about a vendor, or something as simple as a YouTube channel. A lot of businesses have a YouTube channel, and there should be really good content to search through. Things like customer testimonial videos, user help, on-demand videos to cover different topics about that ERP vendor. So lots of ways to look up, what the ERP system is like and what the customers and partners think about it. The fifth feature is mobility and accessibility. Modern applications remove barriers to access. They give you flexibility in a world where many companies have a dispersed workforce, many global. Most modern applications have a mobile app, something that is easy to manage. Ideally, the security settings that are built within the core ERP system transfer over to the mobile application, so you don't have to manage two apps. And they also give you the ability to work on the fly, whether it's timesheets, expense reports, different types of approvals, or if you just want to access real-time data and KPIs and be notified when major business events occur. Mobile apps are one of the top pieces of software that vendors are investing in 2020. Number 6 is scalability. What if you double in size next year? Can you grow with the ERP solution? Is it capable of processing a larger volume of transactions? And will it perform well over the web? Most modern cloud applications are optimized to perform well even with average web connections. So be sure that when you're watching a demo or you get access to a test database of an ERP system, that you're looking at how long it takes to load each screen. And I'd highly advise that you involve your IT team in any evaluation process that you're involved in, so that they can find out what the true ability to scale is. Number 7 is artificial intelligence. Whether we realize it or not, artificial intelligence is all around us and playing an active role in our daily lives. Every time we open our Facebook news feed, do a Google search, get a product recommendation from Amazon, or book a trip online, AI is lurking in the background. Whether it be voice-powered personal assistants like Siri and Alexa, to more underlying and fundamental technologies such as behavioral algorithms and autonomously powered self-driving vehicles, there's several examples and applications of artificial intelligence in use today in ERP. Many ERP systems are attempting to be compatible with voice recognition, so solutions like Amazon Alexa and Cortana of Microsoft. Many applications are attempting to use Azure cognitive services, things like form recognition. For example, if you're trying to create an expense report, modern applications are now giving you the ability to take a picture of a receipt, and that receipt will automatically create an expense report for you and identify the cost, who the vendor is, and what the category is. And all you have to do without keying in anything is approve the fact that everything is correct within that transaction. And there's other extremely powerful tools that AI provides, things like machine learning and predictive dashboards and notifications. We talk about real-time data, but what about real-time data combined with historical information and giving you something that allows you to look into the future? Maybe payment history of a vendor. You can find out when you might have the cash flow from payments. Or maybe previous performance on specific contract types or working with different agencies. All of this AI is making a major move into ERP and business software tools. Number 8 is Internet of Things, or IoT. Some call it the intelligence of things or the Internet of everything. Essentially, every object, system, and technology in our present reality, from office equipment to even physical organs, from defense and security systems to even the local grocery store, all of these things are being connected. And those connections, thanks to AI-driven data analytics, will make once mute objects into autonomous actors and even co-creators of the future. The benefits of this are real and tangible. Rather than having staff out in the field to send in periodic reports about how things are going in the field, why not connect directly to the source? Get real-time data insights about what's going on, be more efficient, and speed up the decision-making process. Number 9, integration. Another key differentiator for technology solutions is the ability to connect with other business-critical applications. We live in a day and age with amazing innovation in technology, services, and solutions. And moving to a connected cloud services world is happening as we speak. Customers can move between their third-party applications without feeling the seams between the products and the services. The search for the right solution must rest on the idea that no one-size-fits-all option exists. There are different application requirements and wants based on each business process, each department, and each even individual user, which means that the cloud ERP solution that a business chooses must be able to integrate seamlessly with multiple third-party applications. But without the right foundation, best-of-breed applications, when combined, can become the worst of breed for your company. So it's important that your tool is able to work well with other applications. Look for things like web services. Does it have REST APIs and the ability to integrate well with others, like Salesforce or Microsoft Office or Workday HR and payroll? Does it have the ability to sync up with DocuSign and Adobe Sign to make the whole approval and document signing process seamless? Things like that, being able to connect to tools like that are making life easier for everyone in the business world today. And finally, number 10 is security. There might not be anything more that's getting more attention in 2020 than security in the GovCon world, especially. We've all been aware of NIST 800-171 over the past couple of years, but up until now, all people have had to do is present a plan of action. But in 2020, now the CMMC, or Cybersecurity Maturity Model certification, is going into place, and everything's being organized and enforced. On the positive side, everybody's going to have a clear picture of what they need to do from a security standpoint. On the not so positive side is you're going to have it in place in order to even bid and win on a contract. If you do not comply with the level of the CMMC that is required within a contract, you cannot qualify to win an award on that contract. So it's a good idea to ensure that the software that you're looking at least the vendor's aware of these requirements and can present you with documentation. And even more so, have the plan of action in place for when you implement something like this, so that you know that you're not facing risk in an audit. Other items like single sign-on, two-factor authentication, and a lot of that actually rolls into the CMMC, but those are just individual items to look for in applications when you're evaluating them. So that's the top 10. For the next 10, I want to get over to the application, and I have Mike Myers here with me. And before we start on number 11, I want to go back to number 2 on my list, which was user experience. So we want you to see right off the bat, what Jameis has done from a user experience standpoint, so that you can see a visual representation of that. Does that sound good with you, Mike?
Sounds good, Dan. Okay, do you see my screen?
Yes, I do.
Okay, so here we are logged in. This is the login portal for Jameis, and we have the ability here, which Dan had just mentioned. If you want to do single sign-on, I don't have it turned on, or two-factor authentication, we have it built into our software. Really where we land when we open up and we come in, so everyone would be coming in through the same portal. Our whole user experience is designed around the what we call the workspaces. So over on the left, I have all of my different workspaces for different roles. We make this easy so I can just come to one place and be able to access all the data that I need from one screen. I eliminate the traditional old way of the way software is designed around different menu choices and having to go down trees and go to different tabs and things like that. We've designed it around, again, make it quick and easy. I want to come in and I'm a PM. Here's the data that I can see here. I can have dashboards right accessible and all the data right at my fingertips. If I want to get back to my workspace, I make one click and I have it back, and I'm back to it. I can see all the reports, I can see all the inquiries, dashboards, everything I need on one page with one click. So that's what I wanted to say about the user experience. Different than traditional software packages.
Excellent. Thank you, Mike. So let's jump ahead. We went through the first 10 features to be aware of in 2020. Let's get to the next 10. So with number 11, access to real-time data. So when transactions happen, it's beneficial to your organization to have access to that data in real time to drive more efficient decision making. Do you have some examples of how we do that?
Take a look at that. Since we're in the project manager workspace, let's go back to our dashboard here. And I want to point out this one, all of our dashboards are customizable. I have one here that shows current employee time detail. This is in real time. As soon as someone saves their time card, as soon as they save it, this data is updated. So if I'm a PM and I'm in charge of these jobs or tasks, I can see in real time who's charging my job and the number of hours that they've charged in real time. So that's an example of real-time type data. In addition to that, if I go over to project accounting, we'll take another look at another example of real-time data the way that we do it. I can see in real time, because of the way that we capture cost and calculate billing and revenue, we do it automatically at the transaction level. We don't wait till the end of the month and then calculate the billing. I can see exactly what I'm going to bill this month before I actually bill it. I don't have to wait for the project accountants or the billing people to process the billing. I can see in real time exactly what is going to be billed in the current month.
Thanks, Mike. So number 12 is dashboards and KPIs. This is, expanding on the concept of real-time data, but giving you the ability to display that information in visualizations or tiles that show you, based on certain thresholds, maybe they change color to let you know the health of where you're at. Maybe you have funding-related thresholds that tell you different things, or notifications, and maybe you have these, these dashboards are organized by different roles in the company, so that different teams have access to different dashboards and KPIs. Can you give us some examples of that?
Sure. Let's look at the workforce as an example of what am I doing when I'm planning all of my resources? All of our customers are service-based government contractors, their biggest expense is labor. It's managing the people that you have working on the contracts. So what we have here is, again, a visualization of how are my people planned out? How are my people, where do I still have capacity left for my individual employees? Be able to quickly and easily be able to look at that. I have a KPI tile here, open time off request. Well, we have the ability to do time off request. That is going to impact, what people are going to be working on my contracts. I need to be informed of that so I can make changes if I have to. If someone's going to be taking 2 weeks off and they're on a specific contract, I might need to replace them with someone else. That's the type of data, that easy access to the data to be able to make those type of decisions quickly and easily, that we present with our dashboards and KPIs in Janus Prime.
Excellent. So the next one on our list, Mike, is collaboration. Basically, end-to-end connectivity between the front office and the back office. If you're real good at ERP system, people out in the field enter data and it's immediately available across the organization. So things like the business development team entering in a new opportunity, and then the finance and executive teams being able to see that opportunity in their forecast, or employee entering their time out in the field. Once they save their time for the day, their project managers can see what they've been doing. So can you give us some examples of that?
Let's just look at that. And that also demonstrates having an integrated system where you enter the data once and it flows all the way through the system. So if I go into my opportunities here, the business development area, and I go into manage my new opportunities, I might have opportunities that, let's just open this up and let's just look at one here. I might have an opportunity that once it reaches a certain stage that I need to put together a cost proposal on this. And this is where you can collaborate with the different areas or different departments in your company. I'm in the business development area. I can set up in Janus Prime, I can set up a planned contract, and I can put together a cost proposal related to this planned contract. And if I go over to planning, we'll look at that. We'll look at our planned contract. I set it up once. I plan against that. Here it is, planned contracts. So again, one click to get to it. I can set up a planned contract. I can create a budget against this, a cost proposal against this. The only difference between this and an active contract is the status here. It's in a proposed state. So if I happen to win this contract, now I have everything already set up. I already have my budget set up. I already have, what resources are going to be on it. And all I need to do is change the status to proposed. Now it then falls under the role of the contract, administrators. And so if I come over to my contracts workspace, now I can monitor that contract as I'm performing the contract. Again, one system, but have all the different groups of people work together and enter the data once and then be able to access it.
Excellent. So the next on the list, Mike, is the ability to do workflow and approvals, essentially automated routing to multiple approvers for different types of business processes and transactions within a system.
Sure, let's go take a quick look at that. So again, over in my workspace, my Prime workspace, where I enter my time cards, my expense reports, all of this data is also available on our mobile app. So if I want to enter my time, my expense reports, do my approvals, look at my dashboards, I can do that. But let's come down here to approvals and see when we say we have integrated workflow throughout the system. Well, one central place, I can come to my approval screen here, and I can see exactly what's sitting in my queue. I have time off requests coming in from the employees that I manage. I might have a requisition that I need to approve. I might have a customer invoice that I need to approve before it goes out to the customer, or a purchase order, or some time cards. So, or a, purchase request. Again, having it all in one place, having an integrated system with approval workflow built in throughout the application is how our system is designed.
Number 15 on the list is document management. Does the ERP have the ability to store documents on any screen in the system? Can you easily look up and sort through those documents? Do you have the ability to have different versions of that document, and can you pass those documents along in approval workflows? Mike, you want to show us an example of that in our system?
Okay, so this is a good feature because it's throughout the whole system here. So we're going to look at it. I'm going to demonstrate it within our payables workspace. So let's go to our payables workspace. We're going to go into bills and adjustments where we enter AP bills, and we're going to come over here and we get a listing. Here's again, another usability feature. We come in and I can see every single AP bill that I've done, and then I can click on it and go right to that transaction. But we can also create filters on that data. So if I wanted to look at specific ones, credit adjustments, debit adjustments, or in this case, a specific vendor, I can easily set up a filter. So when I come in, I can just easily filter on it. And that's what I wanted to show here is this specific AP invoice that we did for Marquez Consulting. And when this comes up, we never get rid of the original transaction, so I can always go back to the original. And here was a subcontractor invoice for $14,075, and up at the top here, again, on every screen where it makes sense, we have the ability to attach documents. So here is the actual invoice. Open it up here. Here it is. Here's my invoice from Marquez Consulting for $14,075. So we have the ability right within the system. It's built in. We don't store it separately. It's built right into the system. So that's our document management. It's available throughout the system. If I go into the contracts module, I can attach all my contract documents right to my contract, as an example.
Yeah, systems like ours have a lot of capability to be able to have version control on documents. If you wanted to link into a SharePoint system, you can link directly from a screen into a SharePoint system. You can use documents in workflow. We mentioned earlier about some integration with DocuSign and Adobe Reader. So lots of capability there, and it could be a nice time saver as well. Number 16 I have as automated invoicing. A lot of people, a lot of businesses will export data into Excel and manipulate it so that they can get the right format and the right numbers in place for their customer. But modern systems, you want to have that all automated and in the system, and each invoice specifically tailored to the way the customer needs to see it. So you get that out on time and you get paid on time. Can you give some examples of that?
Okay. So in our workspace design, if I go to project accounting, and this is where I do project billing, project revenue. But what Dan was talking about is the way our system is designed. We set up the contracts. We've defined exactly how it should calculate the bills. How does the invoice need to look, and so forth. So when we go in to actually do the billing at the end of the month or during the month or as for a specific contract, and I'm going to come back to an existing one, we never get rid of what we call our billing batches here. So I was billing for contract 1002 on 12/31. The system went and I told it, I just want to build this one contract through the end of the month. And it went in and found I have different tasks or different parts of this contract that I have to produce separate invoices for. I have a cost plus one, a T&M one, and a fixed price one for example purposes. And so the system went in and it knew exactly how to calculate the current amount that I should bill. We capture all the individual costs on every single contract or project. We calculate those and then we add them up when we do our billing. We know every transaction that has been billed. We know every transaction that hasn't been billed. And so to automate that process, we just tell the system, go ahead and bill this contract. It went in and produced these 3 invoices. So we can look at the previous invoices and automate the process. We have the same process for calculating revenue. So it is no problem to have the system automatically calculate revenue. If I come back over here and look at project revenue, I can easily get into, let's go to project accounting and go to project revenue, same type of feature. I can tell the system, go ahead and calculate all the revenue for a specific month, and it will figure out for every single contract what the revenue amount is going to be. So let's go back to the previous one here. Look at this. Here we go. So it looked at, calculated the revenue for individually for all 21 different contracts that I have here and calculated the total revenue amount.
Excellent. Next on the list is number 17. I have multi-company capability. Does the system give you the ability to manage multiple entities in the same system? Can you run individual financials by entity and roll it up to a parent? Can you do intercompany transactions? Those sorts of things. Do we have that capability?
Okay. Yeah, let's go take a look at that. I'm going to switch my database here to my multi-company database. And now we're going to go into finance. And the way that we do multi-company, and let's just go in and look at a balance sheet consolidated, because this demonstrates what we have throughout the system. So if you got multiple companies, you can have them all within one system. And then every place I go, based on my security role, I select which company do I want to, run a transaction for or enter a transaction for. So if I'm entering an AP transaction, a journal entry, I just pick what company. Obviously, I have access to all the companies. That's why my drop-down list shows it. That's all I have to do is select which company I want to run it for. And in this case, I want to run my consolidated balance sheet. So let's go ahead and run that. So this is consolidating all my 2 companies that I have, Space Systems and Mission Research Group. We also have the ability to have an elimination company to easily eliminate the intercompany transaction and then add them all together and have a consolidated balance sheet and income statement. So again, if you have multi-company needs, the system is designed specifically for that and makes it very, very easily for users to work in multiple companies and then be able to report whichever company you want, including consolidate.
The next one on the list is multi-currency. Obviously, we live in a more global business environment where companies have international subsidiaries, vendors, and customers. Tell us more about how systems can manage that.
We support multi-currency throughout the whole application, whether I'm whether I have employees that I need to pay in a different currency, whether I have AP transactions, whether I have contracts in a different currency. And to give you an example, I'm going to go back into an AP bill just to demonstrate that and kind of show how I think it's pretty slick how it's done. So I have an invoice from Beck Supply. It's in euros. It's 200 euros. So, you know, I get a bill from Beck Supply for 200 euros, I got to pay them in euros. But if I wanted to look at this in US dollars, we store everything in your base currency, and typically it's, you know, US dollars. I can click on View Base, and it's going to then translate it into US dollars. So here is what's actually getting posted to the GL, because it's going to be in US dollars, 225.98 US dollars, but that's really translates into 200 euros. We have a separate you know, workspace for currency where I can manage my currency rates, my different currencies. You can have unlimited number of currencies. We have a current customer that has 80 separate currencies that they have to manage. And then we have the ability, the system automatically does the realized gain and loss when I pay that AP invoice, and then we have the ability to revalue your cash accounts if you have in a different currency, and then revalue for your balance sheet, you know, your AP and AR that are in different currencies automatically at the end of the month.
The next area, number 19, is industry-specific feature function. Feature function, you know, particularly in the government contracting industry, is very important. You have to do things a lot differently than other industries. The way you manage contracts and subcontracts, the ability to do, you know, project accounting and job costing. You have to track your timesheets differently and expense reports. Can you tell us more about some of the industry-specific features?
Sure. So we have, you know, within our contracts module, we have, let's just go up to that real quick here and look at a contract real quick, and then I'm going to show a couple other features. So, you know, just an example of our, you know, industry-specific type of information that we capture. You know, what is the, you know, owning agency of this type of contract? You know, what are the FAR clauses that apply to this contract? You know, is this a DCMA administrated contract? Those are the type of fields we have, you know, throughout the system to assist with managing government contracts. In addition to that, you know, we'll go back over into our time cards from a DCA compliance standpoint. Let's just go look at a time card real quick just to show where we say we have built-in functionality related to that. That is required. So on our time cards or time sheets, you know, when anyone records time, you know, we keep an audit of the date and time that they entered their time card. And if I come over here to view summary, what I can see is, from a compliance standpoint, what's my change history? So if I change my time card from a DCA compliance standpoint, I have to be able to capture that information. What's the reason I changed? What's the old value? What's the new value? Or if I was late with my time card, why was I late? You know, when did I enter my time card? Those are some of the features we have built into the system for industry-specific capabilities for government contractors.
Great. And now that brings us to number 20. And this one relates to innovation in traditionally labor-intensive processes. I talked about user experience before, and you know, streamlining processes. You know, in the government contracting industry, there's, you know, things like incurred cost submissions that can take a lot of time if you don't have you know, a good setup to extract that kind of information, or, you know, closing out a contract, for example. Those are things that, you know, vendors like us think about. How do we make the experience better for our customers? So can you give us some examples of that?
We have a whole rate management role in here where I can come in and we have all of the incurred cost submission schedules defined here that we can run those. And then from a rate management standpoint, again, I always like to, you know, look at my dashboards to see exactly, you know, where am I at? Where am I at with my year-to-date rates? You know, how my fringe rates and overhead and G&A rates are trending over time. a quick, easy view to be able to see that. Have access to the ICE reports as part of the rate management. If I need to do a burden adjustment, if I get a audit back from the DCAA and they finalize my actual rates from the previous year or the couple years old, I can easily, because we have our systems built, to go ahead and adjust all those costs for that previous year on all the contracts and then bill those adjustments if required. That process is automated within our system. What Dan had also mentioned was the SCA labor. If I come under, it's going to be under my people, the labor. I can manage my prevailing wage schedules and so forth. So if I have SCA employees, union employees, we have the ability built into our labor processing module to be able to set up those different schedules, apply them to specific contracts, and have the system automatically calculate their pay and automate that process, so I'm not doing manual adjustments or having to do that manually in payroll and so forth. And that's about it. Great.
Excellent. Thanks very much, Mike. So that wraps up the top 20 features to be aware of in 2020.